Money FM 89.3, the best of the afternoon update.
Money FM 89.3, it's Lynn Lee with you this afternoon. Now, more details have recently emerged about the Johor-Singapore Special Economic Zone. 9 flagship zones have been announced, and that there will be 2 separate funds committed by the Singapore and Malaysian governments into the economic zone. Now, the Special Economic Zone is poised to become a transformative initiative, and experts see the real estate sector as a significant driver for long-term growth. With increased connectivity and a shared vision for development, this initiative could reshape property demand, values and opportunities on both sides of the border. To help us unpack the potential impact of this special economic zone on the real estate landscape, we're joined by Chua Shir Yee, Head of International Sales from PropNex. Shir Yee, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
It's great to have you. Now, there's been a lot of buzz since the signing of the Johor-Singapore SEZ agreement at the start of the year, right, with the prospects of increased investment and development in the region. It's indeed a milestone that marks a new phase of collaboration between Singapore and Malaysia. And I hear that it'll span an area that would include the Iskandar development region and Pengerang. It really strengthens the value proposition for both sides to compete for global investments together. So what's been dominating your conversations around the SEZ where real estate is concerned?
I think it's really exciting to finally have something more concrete on plan. And this is really not just to foster close economic ties between the two regions, but really aims at attracting global investors and putting the projects across both countries on a bigger platform per se. So, I mean, the excitement has also branched through many different industries. So this collaboration will really boost demand for a variety of stuff in real estate, especially as well. There will be an impact on that across different sectors and asset classes as well. Yeah.
Okay, let's start with JB. How will this impact real estate market there? Will we see increased demand for both residential and commercial properties in the area?
I think for the very immediate impact, we are already seeing some higher absorption rates on the current stocks, especially some of the overhangs in certain locations are starting to be snapped out since the beginning of the year, actually. Since I would say, middle of last year, when the talks are already under the way, we do see that people are paying attention to that and are starting to look at purchasing and investing in Johor itself.
Any specific sectors of the market you expect to be particularly impacted by the Special Economic Zone, whether it's residential, office spaces, or even industrial?
To be honest, I think there will be a good spread between all the 3 different asset classes itself. Residential is very familiar by a lot of investors, so I think that would definitely be one of the strong sectors that will stand out strongly. But for foreigners, there's no limitation to whether residential properties or commercial or industrial. So I do foresee some people who especially do have some business plans in Johor to start looking at commercial sectors as well.
You know, JV has historically been an affordable alternative for those working in Singapore. Every weekend, public holidays, we see throngs of people crossing the causeway for a quick getaway, right? Indeed. Many of us making the trip to eat and shop. And just last week, you heard about travellers using the causeway land crossing to get to JB on foot rather than wait for standing space on buses, which are usually packed anyway, plying the JB Singapore route. So I think once the SEZ is up, we'll see even more bustling activity. So how do you think?
Indeed. Yeah. I'm actually taking this call from Johor, by the way. I just drove.
I see.
Yeah, so it's a perfect time for this interview. And yes, even on a weekday morning, we have seen quite a bit of traffic coming through to Johor side. And a majority of that are actually Singapore cars, per se. But the good thing is we have the improved RTS that's going to come on board very soon. I mean, it's already about 80% complete. So that will definitely hope to ease traffic slightly and to ease up the connectivity between the two borders. Yeah.
Let's talk about prices. How do you think that, property prices will change there?
I think the confidence for developers are stronger right now, so they may be looking at, capital appreciation, but bear in mind, we still do have a bit of overhang from previous developments, per se. So I think that certain areas will appreciate a little bit more than the others. So it's a little bit still volatile at this point of time, in my opinion, yeah.
Okay, will we see new developments targeting Singaporeans who may prefer to live across the border? What kind of properties are likely to see the most demand?
I think it really depends on what categories of Singaporeans as well. Are they in their younger age, whereby they are perhaps still travelling between borders, or perhaps they are looking at retirements and stuff like that. That would attract a different portfolio and different locations as well, where they would prefer to call home per se. If it's somebody who is perhaps transporting daily in and out, they're commuting daily in and out, they may prefer somewhere that's nearer to the city centre. And for those who are looking at more retirement holiday home, they may prefer somewhere slightly inwards towards the city state. Yeah.
Okay, give us a taste of what you're seeing over there, since you are there physically. What sort of areas are we looking at?
Areas-wise, I think, first of all, where RTS is developing, we've seen a lot of interest by Singaporeans investing into it, because that is the very first component that's going to change how we travel between the two borders. So in the last 1 year, we've seen a lot of units being consumed in R&F, which is just right at where RTS is. So there's a lot of interest around the city centre surrounding the RTS, I would say. And beyond that, obviously, there's also interest levels in places that's nearer to the Tuas checkpoint, which will be a totally different locality.
Moving on to Singapore now. Yes. How do you think the SEZ will influence our property market here, particularly in terms of cross-border investments and demand for properties near the causeway?
I do think that currently there are already Singaporeans investing across the borders. People who are very familiar with Johor per se and already have been coming in and out. They do see the opportunity and start investing, but I don't think that it will impact Singapore market that much. I mean, Singapore market, we have our very own dynamics that is not exactly influenced or directly influenced by the SEZ. So I do believe Singapore will still perform as it is with the macro dynamics that it has, which will be a totally different topic of the day.
Okay, so you don't think it's likely that we'll see more development in areas like Woodlands?
I do believe that it will be, but I think a lot of our developments is really much driven by the government. So it really boils down to the land site that they want to open up, etc. But with things on the longer term of period, definitely with the cross borders being stable and stuff like that, there will be more developments around where or near towards the borders area, whether it is the Jurong side or the Woodlands side. Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about emerging opportunities. You're the head of international sales. You deal a lot with both investors and developers. So what kind of opportunities do you see emerging for property developers and investors as well?
I mean, with the boost of confidence driven by the SEZ project itself, I think developers are getting a bit more confident and excited by the initiative, and certainly are looking at doing more over here and seeing how they can reach out to our Singapore investors. Yeah.
What role do you think international investors will play in shaping the real estate market, especially as both regions become more interconnected, JB and Singapore?
Like I said in the beginning part, I think this whole SEZ is really designed to attract global investors. So, with global players coming in, it will benefit both regions. The collaboration will really boost Johor's role as a cost-efficient production base, and while Singapore commercial may thrive from an influx of regional headquarters, perhaps. So I believe it's really a comprehensive ecosystem of, investment-friendly environment and boosting overall real estate market in strategic and very complementary ways. Yeah.
Okay. Well, it's very exciting. I think a lot of people are excited about this whole new special economic zone. There'll be bound to be complexities in terms of working across two countries with different regulatory and tax environments. What challenges do you foresee for real estate investors and perhaps developers involved in the Johor-Singapore SEZ?
I think the collaboration between the two governments is definitely crucial. And right now, it does seem to point to the right direction, which is why everybody is excited about it. But the SEZ also is going on a very project-by-project approach, infrastructure development. So in that very manner, it does give a lot of flexibility to the whole development of SEZ, but it will perhaps be a little bit fragmented growth as well across different areas. So I think for developers as well as investors, they have to be a little bit cautious not to over-speculate and have to monitor clearly on the progress of the development by two governments.
Okay, looking ahead, in your view, what's the long-term outlook for real estate markets in Singapore and JB as the Special Economic Zone continues to evolve? Will we see both regions having distinct market characteristics, or will we see a more integrated real estate market?
In the immediate it, I would still think it's quite distinctive. But in the long term, if this project does go ahead as what the government has planned, I do see the integration between the two markets. So, like I said, that's where the excitement is at this point of time. Looking forward to how the whole integration can be across the two borders businesses. Yeah.
Okay, Shir Yee, before we let you go, what advice would you give to investors or even home buyers who are looking to take advantage of the opportunities arising from this special economic zone?
I think that it's a very exciting time. It's obviously a good opportunity for people who would like to have early advantage into investment. However, be cautious on investment. Do not always speculate. Do your due diligence. And I hope that everybody will be able to realize the potential and while mitigating the inherent risk that is possible out there. So all the best to all the investors out there.
Okay, one last question. Any key factor or trends that they should be particularly mindful of when making investment decisions?
I would say not to be too formal. Be cautious, do not always speculate, and I think monitor closely, with the developments, because like I say, it is a very project-by-project approach. So stay close on how the infrastructure is going to develop, and stay tuned, and the more you are aware, it will definitely assist you to make a better informed decision for your investment.
Okay, appreciate your time today. Thank you so much for your insights as well. Yeah, it's great to hear from you, especially when you're physically in that area. Chua Shir Yee, Head of International Sales from PropNex. Thank you.
Thank you.
To listen to more great interviews, download our podcasts at audio.sg or download the audio app. That's AWEDIO, audio at the App Store and Google Play.